Hello, everyone. It's Dino. Today I'm going to record questions 31 to 40. Let's just break it down and do a little analysis and see how we can tackle these questions. Some of them are kind of tricky, and that's why I decided to do a little analysis. So you should be able to see my screen. My microphone is on. We are good to go. All right. In which of the following provinces does the Personal Injury Protection Plan operate? Well, in order to answer this question, you have to know this. You have to memorize these provinces. As you know, if you start from the west, there are three provinces, BC, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. They provide the crown corporations. The province itself provides the basic automobile insurance. And then you move on to Alberta, which as of January 1st, 2022, they became DCPD. Before that, there was Tort, then so on and so forth. So you have to know all the provinces and what type of insurance they follow. Like in Ontario, we follow DCPD. Some of the maritime provinces like Newfoundland and PEI, they also follow DCPD. So you need to get this under your belt. Okay, you need to make a little chart and see which province follows which, so in order to answer this question. So in my opinion, let me see, British Columbia, no. They don't have the PIPP plan. British Columbia and Quebec, no, Quebec has a completely different plan. There may be a different question dealing with Quebec. And Manitoba, the Crown Corporation, they provide this, and Quebec. So Manitoba, yes, they have PIPP, but Quebec is completely different. So once they mix up Quebec, it's wrong, okay? And so Manitoba and Saskatchewan, okay, that is correct. So if you go through the text, you will see that Manitoba and Saskatchewan, they do follow the Personal Injury Protection Plan. Answer is D. The next question, an injured person cannot sue a liable third party regardless of how serious the injury may be, or even if death occurs in the province of, oh wow, that's pretty serious. So which is the province that just doesn't allow anyone to sue regardless of how serious, even during death, even in the case of death? Okay, let's see the options here. Ontario, of course. Every single day there's lawsuit being filed here, okay? So that's wrong. Saskatchewan, there is lawsuit possible. Quebec, okay, Quebec, yes. Okay, let me just explain a little bit about Quebec, what's going on there. They have something called the dual system in Quebec. So in Quebec, in fact, this is the only province that has this type of system. No other province or territory they follow what they follow in Quebec, okay? Remember this. All the accident benefits, let's say bodily injury related claim, and then accident benefits, it's handled by the government of Quebec. This is the only province it happens. And then the property damage to the vehicle, any physical damage to the vehicle, the government has given it to the private industry. So in Quebec, there is kind of a hybrid system going on where the private industry and the government, they both together handle auto claims. This is not followed in any other province. Now, let's go back to the question. In Quebec, now we are saying that no one is allowed to sue a liable third party, regardless of how serious the action is. And that is correct, my friends. It is correct. By receiving, based on like no-fault benefits from the government, for all the accidents and bodily injury involved accidents, the government of Quebec also removed the right of the people to sue each other. That is the fact. Now, I know this has been tested during elections. They had some referendum, so on and so forth. And some people actually, they challenged the government of Quebec, the province of Quebec, on the grounds that this goes against the Charter of Rights and Freedom of Canada. But then, I can show you a couple of cases where that was turned down by the judges. The judges said, look, you cannot have it both ways because you're getting all the benefit that you need, okay, when you're injured by the government. There's an outfit called, uh, there's a company called, it's not a company, it's a government entity called SSAQ. It's a French, it's an acronym, SSAQ, and they give you everything. Okay, let's say you are injured in a car accident and now you are so badly injured that you cannot do your work and you have to be retrained for some other job, and your office has to be modified to accommodate your disability, whatever it is, they will do it. So then the government said, okay, we're going to do everything for you. Then you shouldn't sue others. Okay, so C is the right answer. I know this for sure. Okay, and all of the above is definitely wrong. Okay, now what I would suggest is if you have any questions for further clarification, you can actually put it on the comments. I don't mind answering your question. We just want to make sure that we all understand what's going on. Which of the following is true of the facility association? I know I remember dealing with it on previously, yesterday or day before, another question. So you will see sometimes these questions get repeated, but they get different choices. So it's good because your knowledge in the facility association, it becomes more solidified when they give you more options to deal with, right? So there's nothing wrong with that because I do remember seeing this. So what are the options? Facility association ensured that automobile insurance is available to every licensed driver. That is absolutely true. One of the reasons why the insurance company, they got together and they had to come up with a facility association is because of the provincial mandate in Ontario, for example, that the insurance company, they cannot refuse automobile insurance to a licensed driver, regardless of how bad the driver is. And like they keep on getting into at-fault action, they have a very bad record, doesn't matter. The province says that the insurance company, they cannot refuse, cannot say no to a licensed driver. So the industry, then they came up with this ideas. So let's say you have three layer of, the industry created three layers. The first one is called the standard market. So people who, good drivers, not making accidents and not causing the insurance company grief. Okay. So they're in the standard market with, reasonable premium. Then the people who are causing accidents, they are being removed from the standard market and they're put into a high risk market. I can give you a couple of examples. For example, Intact. So they have Jeffco. So Jeffco is the high risk market. Then you have Economical. They used to have something called PERT, but I think that a few years ago they merged it, so they don't no longer call it as a high risk. Pembridge, they have, I think, PAFCO. There's a high risk company. And Echelon, which is now owned by CAA, they're also kind of high risk, okay? Then let's say the person goes to high risk, probably their premium is now double, but still they don't learn their lesson. They keep on getting into more accidents and more tickets and more convictions. So even the high risk markets, they say, no, we can't handle this. Then the last stop is facility. I'll give you a quick example, okay? We had a client in the regular market. He was driving a beaten up Honda Civic, okay, and he was paying about $1,200 per year, okay, just $100 a month. Then this is a bad driver, okay, he just kept getting into accidents and getting tickets for speeding and whatever it is. So we moved him to high risk, and he was paying something like $3,500 or $4,000 per year. Same car, same guy, okay, and he doesn't learn the lesson. Okay, there's some people like that. Okay, they're just adventurous, very adventurous. So got into more accidents. So even the high risk division said, no, we're going to take him out. He's now in facility, and get this, he's paying $12,000 a year. He's driving the same car. The car is probably worth not even $1,000, and he needs the car for his job. He cannot lose his job. Okay, so he's paying $12,000 in facility. So you get the point. Now, anyways, so it ensures that automobile insurance is available to every licensed driver, which is correct. It is an unincorporated non-profit association of insurers. Absolutely correct. that the proper definition of facility association is unincorporated. It's not like a typical corporation. It's a not-for-profit association of insurers, because the insurance company, they got together to fulfill the provincial mandate, and they created the facility association. Okay. It operates through servicing carriers, which is also correct. So let me explain what the servicing carriers. So when a person is sent to the facility, I actually call this as the Alcatraz. You know, Alcatraz in San Francisco, it used to be one of the notorious prisons. Now I think it's a tourist attraction there. And I remember a couple of years ago, I wanted to visit that facility. I heard that Morgan Freeman is the one, there's some, he gives the conducted tour, not himself, but the voice recorded conducted tour or whatever. So I told my daughter to book a ticket. You wouldn't believe what she told me. It was sold out for like 5 months. Only in America, a prison can become one of the best tourist attraction, and it's just tickets are sold out for 5 months. So anyway, the facility association is the Alcatraz. Okay. Now it operates servicing carriers. So in order to set up the policy, issue the liability certificate, receive the premium, do the renewals, you need somebody to do the job. So what facility association they did, they appointed a couple of insurance companies, and they call them servicing carriers. So someone has to do the paperwork, right? So if you see A, B, and C, they're all correct for the facility association. Then we're going to pick D, all of the above. Okay. All right. Next question, which of the following is false statement? You got to be very careful in the exam, because you know how the human brain works. We always look for the right answer. Okay, so be careful, because this is looking, this question is asking you to look for the wrong answer. Okay. In Canada, automobile insurance is marketed, so they're going to give you like 4 choices, by direct writing insurers through captive agents. Yeah, I'll go with that. Although they shouldn't have used the words captive agents. Okay, I don't want to get too distracted with all these, because I'll never stop talking. Captive agents is like a whole chapter we teach in one of the CIP courses. Okay, so anyway, let's say agents. Okay, to make it simple, by direct writing insurer through captive agents. Yeah, it's true. Direct writing, there are many companies like TD Insurance, Belay Direct. Okay, they don't go through brokerages, and they have their own agents. Okay, the brokers work in like call centers. Yes, so that is true. By reinsurers. So automobile insurance, no. Automobile insurance is not marketed by reinsurance companies. Reinsurance companies, their customers are the insurance companies. Okay, so insurance companies, let's say Intact, they're insuring like 1 million homes in Ontario. They will take like a percentage of that and give it to a reinsurance company. So the reinsurance company, they don't directly market insurance to the public. So B could be wrong. Third, through Crown Corporation of provincial government, that is true. I just mentioned a few minutes ago that if you go to the west, BC, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, the Crown Corporation, they provide insurance, which is true. So you're supposed to look for the false statement. So we have one already, reinsurers. Through independent agents selling on behalf of various insurers, absolutely. Okay, so we have so many brokerages, independent agents. Okay, independent agents could be working for a brokerage, but they keep the book of business for themselves, or they have their own office. Okay, and so they're selling on behalf of various insurance companies. Perfectly correct. Marketing insurance. So we have to settle with for B. Okay, so B is the wrong answer. Because reinsurance company, they don't deal with the public directly. Next question. Which of the following have Crown Corporation that provide the basic compulsory automobile insurance? So we already said 3 provinces, but here looks like they only give 2 choices. But let's go through it. So I know BC, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. Definitely I know this, because I teach C14 pretty much every other semester. And the last chapter, it goes through from coast to coast. So we have to know, the student has to know in C14 course, which province provides what coverage. So this is like ABC of insurance in Canada. You have to know this. Okay, let's go through the options. Alberta is wrong. Just a minute ago, a few minutes ago, I mentioned to you that Alberta, now it was on a tort system for many decades. And then just this year, January, I should say last year, 2022, they moved to DCPD, like Ontario, okay? So this is wrong answer. Manitoba and Ontario. So Manitoba is correct, but Ontario is wrong because Ontario, 100% of the insurance is provided by private companies, 100%, okay? Manitoba and Saskatchewan, yes, okay, they definitely provide, the Crown Corporation provide the basic insurance to all their residents. The Saskatchewan, Alberta is wrong because Saskatchewan, yes, but Alberta, no, they don't have the Crown Corporation. So C is the right answer, okay? 36, onus probandi, it's kind of Latin term. It's in many CIP books, okay? If you go through any courses, you will come across this. Onus probandi rest on the pedestrian making the claim when an automobile is involved. Oh, wow. So they're trying to really trick you here. I mean, that first choice, it's a loaded one. So let me give you like a, thumbnail version of what's going on, the pedestrian, why they mentioned pedestrian. So normally first of all, what is onus probandi? It is the burden of proof. So you can see C is the right answer there, okay? It's burden of proof that everybody should know this Latin term because in many CIP courses, onus probandi means the burden of proof. Now, normally the onus probandi, the burden of proof rests on the plaintiff. So who is the plaintiff? The one who brings a case against another person. I mean, anyone can bring a case on anyone else, but then can they prove it? So they have the burden of proof to prove, yes, this person, I can prove, if they take them to court, I can prove, Your Honor, with all these things that this person was the one responsible for my injuries. So the plaintiff, has the burden. But when it comes to pedestrian, it shifts because here you have a pedestrian hit by a car and there are like 100 witnesses. Okay, it's on the news and everything. And so we're not going to, and he's, maybe fighting for his life in a hospital after the injuries. So we're not going to say, hey, you are now the plaintiff because you are the one who is going to bring a case against the driver who hit you. So you have the burden of proof. You have to prove that you are. Can you imagine that makes sense? It simply doesn't make any sense. So what they did in the law, if this is something happened which is so obvious that someone else is responsible for the accident, in this case, the automobile driver here, okay? If it is so obvious, then the burden of proof shifts to the defendant. Okay, so from the pedestrian, it's going to shift to the defendant, who is the driver here in this case, and they're going to tell the driver, okay, we are going to, if you say that you didn't do this, you didn't hit this pedestrian, then you prove it. But that's a totally different topic. But I just want to just throw it out there why they're talking about pedestrian and everything. But that doesn't have anything to the burden of proof, okay? It doesn't answer the question directly. So B is the right to state one's case in a court. Yeah, everybody has a right to state their cause. We are talking about burden of proof, okay? Onus probandi. So C means burden of proof, okay? And the D it says means presume liable. No, that's not correct. In fact, this phrase is used for the driver in A. He will be presumed liable, even the pedestrian, without having the pedestrian to prove it. Okay, he'll be presumed liable because what he did is so bad that, it was so obvious. It was in the 6 o'clock news and the pedestrian is fighting for his life and so on and so forth. So he will be presumed liable, but it's not onus probandi. So I'm going to go with C. Okay, so C is onus probandi means burden of proof. Make it simple. Okay, all the other things have so many, it's convoluted and, they're not correct answer. Okay. 37. The legal concept that obligates an insurer to pay third-party liability claims under an automobile policy, even if the insurer has violated policy conditions, is known as. I remember discussing this either yesterday or day before in a different question. So we know this is absolute liability. I may have given you an example of this person doing an illegal race, and then he hurt somebody, like an innocent pedestrian or innocent bystander who was just watching this race and lost control, and then he just hit him. So that's an innocent third party now is being affected. So through the absolute liability concept, the insurance company will be forced by regulators to take care of the pedestrian, the bystander, or just a spectator in this car racing situation. And then the insurance company, after taking care of the spectator, they have the right to go after the driver who violated the policy condition. Of course, they can cancel the policy, they're going to deny all the claim, and they have the subrogation right to go after him to collect back whatever money they spend on this innocent bystander. So this is known as the absolute liability. Okay. So definitely 37, the right answer is A. So B, say additional agreement of insurer. No, it's got nothing to do with this. Financial responsibility, motor vehicle liability. No. The question is very clear. Okay. So the responsibility, the obligation of the insurance company, even if their customer violated a policy condition, which in this case, in my example, he did illegal racing. So he violated a policy condition. Even if that happened, still, the absolute liability will force the insurance company to take care of the innocent third party. Okay. The ultimate aim of direct compensation plan is, okay, so you have to know the advantages of the DCPD system. Why did they? It used to be called the knock for knock. It was brought to Canada by the British, and then the name was changed to direct compensation property damage, whereby you actually I did a piece, a YouTube video, maybe like a month ago. You can find it. You just do a search for DCPD direct compensation. You will get that. The reason for DCPD is that people were wasting their time, people were suing each other, going after each other. Everybody became just adversary to each other in different system called tort system. So people are really suffering to get some money from the other party who caused the accident. So the British had the system called knock for knock, and then here it became DCPD, by which everybody will go to their own company. And then they will just tell their story, how the accident happened, and they do the fault determination rules. And then they will be covered under DCPD, direct compensation, to the extent they are not at fault. So that when they are not at fault, they had a right to go after the other party. The DCPD system said, no, don't waste your time. Okay. In many cases, it became lawsuits because they were not getting their money. And so these people are paying, the claims people, there was so much money was spent. Okay. What happened was when DCPD was introduced, immediately they noticed a shift. The claim costs were reduced, and thereby, as the subsequent result, the premiums became lower. Insurance company was spending less and less money. They were just taking care of their own customers, and they didn't go after the other people. So less time and money spent. Okay. Imagine, your company is going to sue another person. They're paying for the lawyers. Their claim cost is very high. So DCPD said, no, you don't need to go after others. Each one of you, each company, take care of your own customers. That's it. Okay. So A said to reduce claim cost leading to lower premium. This is absolutely correct. Okay. The DCPD, one of the advantages. Speedier claim settlement because there is no fault assigned. I have a problem with this because yes, speedier claim settlement because there is no fault is assigned. Because you're going to go to your insurance company. It's not that you're totally not at fault. No, you could have caused the accident. But still, you can walk away from the accident and you just go to your own company. And then if you're 100% at fault in the accident, the DCPD will not protect you. The DCPD is only when you're not at fault. Okay. So it doesn't mean that no fault is assigned. That's wrong. Successful subrogation by the injured party's insurer. No. That's not correct because just I mentioned to you a couple of minutes ago, insurance companies, they were supposed to just take care of their customers and not go after the other insurance company. And the other company will do the same thing. They will take care of their own client, even if you caused the accident, you walked away, and the other company, you caused damage to the other car, it's okay. They're going to take care of their customer, they won't subrogate. And your company will do the same thing. Okay. So C is wrong. To have the third party's insurer pay the claim, no. The whole idea of DCP is that your company will pay your claim to the extent you're not at fault. We're not going to go to the third party. Okay. So then I'm going with A. A is definitely correct. Okay. Couple of more questions. Oh, we have burden of proof again. So what is the burden of proof? Is the right to state one's cause? No, that's not a burden of proof. Burden of proof that you have to prove that somebody else caused you damage. So means without prejudice? No, that's also wrong. Means presume liable? No, that is, when the liability, the burden of proof shifts to the defendant when they did something so bad, it was so obvious they did something wrong, they will be presumed liable. So it's not the burden of proof. So the D usually rests with the person making the claim. This is absolutely correct. You may recall just a couple of minutes ago I mentioned this. Usually, why you say usually? Why not always? Because in some situation it can shift to the defendant. That's why they say usually, for the most part, rest with the person, which is the plaintiff, making the claim. Okay, so I'll go with D. Final question. Oh, we are back to facility association. So what are the choices we have here? Is an unincorporated, incorporated. Oh, you see, I just said unincorporated, but actually it says incorporated, so it's wrong. This answer is wrong. See, I have said so much about facility association, automatically I said unincorporated. No, this answer is wrong. For-profit association, no, this is also wrong. Ensure that automobile insurance is available to every licensed driver. That is correct. Okay, absolutely correct. Is a government department? No, it is not a government department providing high-risk insurance coverage. No, it's wrong. Okay, it's run by the insurance companies. Okay, not the government. Is none of the above is wrong because we do have a proper definition. B, ensure that automobile insurance is available to every licensed driver. Okay, everyone, that's the end of this segment. I'll probably see you in my next video. Okay, hopefully you found this a little bit helpful. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And yeah, well, if you feel like subscribing, I leave it to you the option. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next video.